Hello and welcome to Outside Xbox. You're watching Show of the Week. I'm Andy.
And I'm Jane. And this week, through a series of frankly unlikely events in the past and outer space, I ended up with the plans for the Death Star.
Meanwhile, this week I've been playing... Wait, what?
Death Star plans. Do you want to see?
Yes. Finally, we can strike back at the Empire. Right, I didn't understand any of that.
Who knew space station schematics could be so complicated?
At least all those Bothans died,
Yeah,
so, you know.
Not a wasted trip. Plus, they're going to love these when we take them to Star Wars Celebration.
To what now?
Are there any Star Wars fans here?
Star Wars Celebration, which is happening, oh my gosh, right now you guys, is an annual celebration of all things Star Wars. Yes, all things, even that guy who was basically just a devil.
Do you remember in the cantina scene, there's just a devil? There's just a guy who's... there's just the devil sitting around.
The devil's hanging out.
It is, it's just the devil. They're like, oh, I've got a Halloween mask of the devil. He's an alien now.
Last year's Star Wars Celebration was in Anaheim, California, whereas this year it's in London. Based on the fact that nigh on anyone even remotely evil in Star Wars has a British accent, that must mean it's the Empire's turn to host.
Rebel troopers have taken over a control point. Unacceptable.
For fans of Star Wars games, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on the weekend's activities. It was during last year's celebration when publisher EA unveiled the first proper trailer for Star Wars Battlefront, the one with speeder bikes and Boba Fett, and we can expect more news, probably about the upcoming Death Star DLC, at this year's show. If we've been particularly good and the Force is with us, we might even find out what the final Battlefront DLC pack, scheduled for this December, will be all about. Battlefront developer DICE has said it is particularly excited about that one, so we can only assume it'll take us to the planet of the Devils. And because it's also due this year, we might also be offered a glimpse of the currently PlayStation exclusive Star Wars Battlefront VR experience that promises to drop you into the snug cockpit of an X-Wing.
Clear to engage.
We're not jealous, not at all. No, you're the one pouring at your screen and salivating. Of course, we're also waiting for more information on the many other Star Wars games that are currently in development at EA, but on that front we may have to exercise the Jedi twin disciplines of patience and not grumbling in internet comment sections, because we're not anticipating hearing anything on those games until well into next year. In any event, to find out more, you'll want to park yourself in front of the live stream at starwars.com on Saturday 16th of July at 7 PM UK time or 11 AM Pacific. Don't forget to load up on nutritious Star Wars themed treats. Now that the Admiral snack bar from the Clone Wars animated series is closed, yes, it's actually canon, we're going to have to look elsewhere for our magically self-raising space bread and tall glass of delicious blue milk.
Right, and then what happened?
Well, then I was like, and you'll supersize it for no additional cost. But it turns out he was a Toydarian, so now I'm not allowed back in McDonald's.
Oh, what, that one or all of them?
It doesn't matter. The main thing is Star Wars is everywhere, and so you can't escape it, and so you shouldn't even try.
Right, particularly in video games.
Because at the moment there are so many Star Wars games in production, chances are you're probably working on one right now without even realising it. I myself just checked my laptop screen to find I was idly animating an Imperial Scout Trooper for an unannounced Star Wars racing game. Mad! Anyway, apart from that one, here are the Star Wars games we're most excited for. If you hate waiting more than Star Wars hates right hands, then there's a Star Wars game you can play right now in the form of LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. This retells the story of the recent Episode 7 through the tried and tested LEGO formula of breaking things, building other things, and adorable blocky cutscenes.
The droid. I'll pay for him.
Actually, the droids are not for sale.
The addition of cover-based shooting, aerial dogfights and rebuilds, which let you use bricks to build one creation, break that down and then use the same bricks to build something completely new, give things a new twist, and there are hundreds of characters to unlock, including classic versions of the older returning characters. Plus, they've made LEGO BB-8 even more adorable than the real thing. How is that even possible? Definitely the dark side at work. At E3 2016, we got a brief, tantalising glimpse of this untitled Star Wars game. It'll be built by Visceral Games of Dead Space fame, but headed up by Amy Hennig. If you haven't heard of her, she's probably best known for her work as lead designer on Super Nintendo game Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City. Or a little series called Uncharted? Maybe you've heard of it. So we're expecting something dramatic and cinematic similar to the sadly cancelled Star Wars 1313, which was in development when Disney closed LucasArts. Our predictions are lent a bit of weight by the fact that a certain voice actor recently did what voice actors love to do best: operate their mouths. Maybe it's doing both Amy Hennig and Visceral a massive disservice to suggest that this game could just be Uncharted but set in the Star Wars universe. But to be honest, would you be that upset with Uncharted set in the Star Wars universe? It has to be better than Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City set in the Star Wars universe. As mentioned at the top of the show, there's also a Star Wars Battlefront VR experience on the way to PlayStation VR that promises to put you into the Star Wars universe at the helm of an X-Wing fighter. Probably as a pilot who can't figure out the controls and immediately crashes into the nearest planet, if our Star Wars Battlefront experiences so far are anything to go by. And speaking of Battlefront, 2017 is when we'll get a sequel to Star Wars Battlefront. It probably won't be called Star Wars Battlefront 2, but we can't think of anything better apart from possibly Star Wars Battlefront, Twilight of the Ewoks. DICE has already confirmed we won't be getting any Force Awakens content for the current version of Battlefront, so this next Battlefront is going to be the place to be if you want to play as Rey or Finn, or have battles on Takodana and Dakar. DICE is also working in collaboration with Motive Studios on what it's calling a significant new addition to the game, which sounds to us a lot like a single player mode. Fingers crossed. Motive is the EA studio founded by Jade Raymond, best known for working as a producer on the story-led Assassin's Creed series, so chances are good. Respawn Entertainment is the studio that made Titanfall, and as an EA partner studio, they too are being forced at gunpoint to make a Star Wars game.
We're going to deliver that Star Wars awe like fans have never seen before.
Oh, okay, it turns out they're actually quite excited about it. Well, good. We know very little so far, but at EA's E3 press conference this year, the Respawn segment showed a mocap session for actors wielding lightsabers, so we can assume that lightsaber combat will feature prominently. As lightsabers are objectively the coolest weapon in movie history, this is officially fine by us. No more having to make lightsaber sounds with our mouths, although we will still absolutely be doing that.
Now it's time to see what's written in the comments and in the ingredients of this delicious blue milk.
Oh, it's just smashed up Twi'leks.
Oh.
First up this week, your comments on this video about the games that threw you in at the deep end. Surprise!
Other games boot you This Is Sparta style directly into the action, barely giving you a minute to work out if you've got your y-axis the right way round. And by right way round, I mean inverted. As ever, some good suggestions from you guys, such as this from Brennan Arts, who says, what about Resident Evil 4? You have to take on an entire angry village before it even admits to being Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, own up Resident Evil 4.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Commenter Miles Frost, meanwhile, has this to say. I assumed this video was inspired by Doom, so I thought you would include that.
What's deep end about that?
You wake up naked, tied to an occult altar, then you break free and shoot a load of people.
Yeah, it's barely an average weekend.
On the topic of the inverted y-axis, commenter Chazza a bunch of numbers is on my side, saying, I am 28 years old and Mike, you are the very first person I've heard of that uses inverted y-axis. I genuinely was beginning to think I was the only one. I thought we were becoming a dying breed. All the mockery from friends, the ridicule I've endured. It's all been worth it. Fellow inverted control gamers assemble. Smiley face. There are dozens of us, Chazza. Dozens.
Rainier Hood, however, submits the following counter-argument. F*** you inverted axis.
Fair enough. Moving on, here are your comments on this video in which we played zombie survival game 7 Days to Die as Michonne from The Walking Dead and mostly failed to survive or find any zombies.
How's my health, Andy?
80.
Oh, sweet. I could do this for days, zombie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, search them for zombie clues.
Stay down, zombie. Still, the zombies we did find totally got it, as commenter Marco Mora points out. I guess you could say you Michonned those two zombies? Yeah.
Not the bear, though.
Why you always got to bring up the bear?
Hey, it's not just me. GIR336 also says, exit pursued by bear.
More like die in a lake, eaten by a bear.
Somehow, Jake, in the zombie apocalypse, you've got eaten by a bear.
And we finally got an answer to an age-old question thanks to beat-em-up mini-boss Karate Joe, who says, why did the chicken cross the road? Jane chased it with a big stick for feathers.
Hit it.
Chicken, die!
Yes.
Oh,
And again.
And again.
Is it
Come back, chicken. Are you going to run straight into a zombie?
Feather. Stupid chicken.
Finally this week, your comments on last week's show about Batman Return to Arkham and the worst doctors in Gotham.
There's the fact that if you go and see a doctor in Gotham, you're likely to be treated by an evil supervillain who's more likely to inject you with fear toxin or climb inside a massive monster plant than prescribe you some antibiotics or give you a note that gets you out of work. Here are 5 Gotham doctors you're probably going to want to avoid.
Commenter Original L Money asks, does Mike know that Dr. Crane isn't a general MD? I imagine by the time he's finished, Mike will be cured of his Batarang elbow by suddenly having a pathological fear of them, and thus never throw another one again.
Yeah, I don't actually remember much about my session with Dr. Crane, but I'm assuming it went well. Seemed like a nice guy, lovely bag-like face.
Well, that answers that. Meanwhile, commenter BravaCane7193 writes to point out, at this point, I've got a lot of respect for Oxbox's various cons to get likes. Cons? These are legitimate get likes quick schemes. Systems, not schemes.
Okay.
Could a scheme promise you 1 million likes just for pressing the like button?
I don't think you can promise that.
Mike, you're ruining my scheme. System.
Sorry. Finally, Robert Gaherty has a geography question saying, wow, Oxbox, how come you never let us know there was a neighbour to your headquarters? I mean, I assumed all the space was taken up by all those suspiciously plot-perfect rooms you apparently have.
Oh yeah, they take up most of the space. There's the laboratory, the R&D platform, the zoo. It takes ages to get anywhere.
Oh yeah, speaking of, shouldn't you leave now if you're going to make it back to the studio for the end of the show?
That's a good point. I'll take a shortcut through the Hall of Star Wars references.
Oh, if you pass through Toshi Station, can you pick me up some power converters? Got some power that needs converting. I assume that's what they do.
That's it for Show of the Week, but do you know the best thing about the like button? It's nothing like sand.
Oh no.
See, I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating. It gets everywhere. The like button's smooth, and from my point of view, it's the Jedi who are evil. All right, lunch? Oh, are you still playing Pokemon Go?
Yep. Oh, hold still. There's a Pikachu right on your head.
Nice, catch it. Be the very best like no
I
one
will.
ever was.
Oh.
What's it doing?
You don't want to know.